Hey guys, what is going on, RedMaster, and welcome back to episode of Casting Conflicts for you. Today we've got a great match lined up, so without much ado, let's go ahead and jump right in to match number one. Alright folks, and welcome back to episode of Casting Conflicts here. Today we've got banana2244, I don't know why I always say his numbers, taking on BC, of course. Banana rocking the Viking Crusader up against BC's Druid Crusader, which we saw him take in the last match here. And joined with me on commentary, we've got, of course, Tweakin this time around. Tweakin, how you doing? How you feeling about this matchup?
I'm doing great. You know, you see Vikings Crusaders, Druids Crusaders. It's probably going to be, pretty late match to see if we're going to see who's going to win. I don't know what type of deck Banana is running, but I can only assume that Beastly is going to be running a global buff deck.
Probably.
Kind of stinks. Yeah, standard with the blue with the white yellow. So now that's a new one for me.
What is
that card? That Banana in this deck type.
I'm not really surprised, considering that Banana is one of the folks who considers Nalakir more of a utility card than a monster-specific card. Despite that, you use a Jira to usually power up the monsters, he sees it as, hey, let me get some additional units here, let me get some additional cards to kind of provide defense here, because this might be more of a stall deck. And I'm seeing Cloak, I'm seeing Racking Mystic Journey. This might be just a kind of stall until we can build up this Racking Mystic Journey to create this, one punch knockout. But we'll see how that goes, because BC, of course, running the more aggressive Druid Crusader, usually not only focus on the global buffs, but as well as cheap units to kind of get in and be annoying on face. So we'll see how well Banana deals with that as we see him kind of clean up this early aggression.
So he got great value from that card, from that draw. If he didn't get that, it was going to be kind of hard for him to clean up there. He probably would have had to sack the Rat King.
Right. I think the only thing that would have been disheartening for Banana to see would have been 2 Serpent Witches, really, in that case.
We're going to see Call of A, but we see Cloak of Ice, so we're not too scared. We see Lightning Blade and Mystic Journey with Rats, so,
we're feeling pretty good, I think.
I'm still feeling pretty good if I'm Banana if I saw a Call of Aid. You still have a lot of units, And
the second Ajira are going to provide even more defensive utility, creating some more monsters to kind of fend back these Rangers. Although, I am a little nervous considering that, again, Beastly's deck does do a lot better with these cheap units, being able to throw a lot at the board. So we'll see if maybe the monsters are his downfall. I don't think they're going to be, but again, we'll have to wait and see here, as it looks like we're getting a bunch of monsters on board currently. I don't know if Beastly got a Behemothra.
I don't think he did. I think he got the Little Dragon Boy and a Serpent Witch.
Okay.
Now, Beastly is an aggressive player.
Right.
So I really hope that he doesn't just spam all these monster cards and set himself up for a Cloak of Ice, Frozen Pillar, and then give Banana great value for Lightning Blade. But I think, Beastly's kind of aware. He knows. He's been around, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he is still certainly learning. I mean, I've seen a couple of his matches where he sets up for things like Nasty Freeze or Nasty Chain. But to be fair, given his experience, in the lower rankings, I feel like you don't see these like freeze chain tactics as often. So it kind of makes sense here as we see what Banana's going to do. Oh, he looks like he attacked with the Wind Mage. It's a little slower on our end, so we're going to see a couple interactions, maybe a bit delayed here. Looks like Kaijir debating going into the... Oh, nope, going to set up the Cloak of Ice, so that's going to neutralize the Kaijir and
probably going to see...
Ranger.
And he's probably setting up for that Lightning Blade play.
I mean, he's got some decent value on it.
Oh, yeah.
Warrior, Thunderstrike creates a Lightning Blade. That's going to be nasty. That's going to take out Ranger, Kaijir, and do a little bit of extra damage towards the castle. Let's the Ajira.
And wouldn't that activate the Lightning Blade twice?
Yeah, it does. It pops Lightning Blade off twice. So 6 damage on castle and pretty much clears the board here.
And he's not going to be able to get rid of it.
No, it looks like he is. He is going to be able to clear off the Kaijir, so going to negate
the Kaijir, yeah, but I was more so worried about the...
Oh, the warrior. Yeah, no way to
Yeah,
stop that. That's gonna go through
no.
for sure.
I was hoping that maybe Beasley would have played a cheap companion unit to get rid of him, but I don't think he sees what's about to happen to him.
No, not yet. And yeah, there's gonna be the lightning blade on the warrior. Yep, there it is. So there's gonna be a bunch of value off of the warrior lightning blade. That's gonna do a bit of damage. Ajira also gonna come in maybe for 4 additional points. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. So yeah, I think if we're in banana shoes, we're in a very good place here moving into the later stages.
Yeah,
Gotta
he's
be
got
concerned about
two,
the cleric though. 5/7, it is slow, but that is a beefy boy that can provide some great castle heals for Beastly here.
and you don't really have a clean way of killing it. I mean, you have the Wind
Hmm.
Mage, but he can only do 2 damage per attack, and everything else after that, you're just gonna heal the cleric right back up. I mean, you got Yarm, you got Rakeen, you got Arbiters, still not enough to fully heal the cleric. So
So we'll see Lore Master get played now, which is going to be great for Beastly to kind of keep his hand a bit healthy here. And yeah, the Warrior draw, not the best. He needed global buffs, I think, to really be able to deal with the Cleric. Because, granted,
hmm
Cleric can also direct castle heals to, or no, yeah, direct heals to castle, excuse me, to kind of lower his health. But, you know, it's a bit of a mix. It's a 50-50 chance when you look at it like that.
now the Banana's probably gonna play defensive here. He's probably gonna move the Wind Mage down 2 spaces, and no, he has a couple options here. He can either go ahead and take the 3 damage on face with the Manfish and ultimately lose him next turn, or he can play this more defensively and hope that he draws a global buff next turn.
Right. I mean, worst
But
case scenario, Banana might end up wasting the Mystic Journey here to push the Cleric back, knowing that it is a slower unit. It can't get to him for a few more turns, but then you lose out that potential for Rat King Mystic to close out the game here. And we're actually not going to see
yeah,
any cards played, which is, I
no,
think, it's a fair play. I mean, you don't really have too much to do, and the Cleric isn't really reaching face yet.
I think he's setting up for double Arbiters to end the game.
Potentially, yeah. We're moving into the range now where Double Arbiter actually does close out things quite nicely, unless
Because
Beastly
now
does.
Beastly doesn't have enough gold to play an Arbiters of his own with fat bards out. He's going to have 8 gold max.
What's funny about this deck actually is that I talked to Beastly last time we were doing this, and he actually doesn't run heals in this deck. No hands, no arbiters,
Mm.
which is, in my opinion, not the strongest move that you can make with a Crusader deck, but I mean, he focuses aggressive. Aggressive is his playstyle. He's hoping to knock out the castle before even using those heals, so.
Banana has a gamble here. He can hit Castle with Arbiters to set up a game ending next turn, and also hit the Ranger or the Cleric with his Wind Mage, ultimately sacrificing it next turn, in hopes that when the Cleric does hit Castle or the Wind Mage, it heals itself or the Ranger rather than the Castle. I mean, it's
Right.
a big gamble. He might even opt to, Mystic Journey, but you got a couple options here. You can, oh man,
It's
oh man.
difficult. I'd say go for the Arbiter. Arbiter is a game closer, and I don't know if Beastly is experienced enough yet to recognize the Arbiter burn that Banana's got. But it looks like he's opting not to do it at the moment. Instead, using the Mystic Journey like we mentioned. Looks like Warrior going to go ahead and put down, sacrificing the Wind Mage to Cleric. So going to give him Castle Heal off of that potentially. And
hmm
yeah, this might turn around for Beastly. If he can make an aggressive, worthwhile push, he might be able
Yeah.
to. I think
Beastly
maybe
needs
he's
to
hoping
hit
to
the
set up
Wind
with the
Mage.
Lightning Blade.
Ah, he should have hit the Wind Mage
Yeah,
first
should
with
have
the
the Wind Mage
Cleric.
first. Yep, there's the heal onto
Uh-huh.
Rangers. So still in threat of the Arbiter burn. I think Beastly's got to be more aggressive though at this point. Just because one Arbiter isn't enough to kill him per se. If he
Mm-mm.
rushes with these units now,
Oh, it's over. It's
oh
gonna be over.
yeah,
It's gonna be over.
I think no matter what. Oh,
Oh, that's
Yenny,
big.
Yenny,
That's
that
big.
he's. I would take the Yenny.
You have to. You have to, or it's game over.
I mean, granted, General actually can't kill anything on the board, but
But it
hey, I
can
mean,
set.
rushing it
But
forward
he's
is
setting himself up for a yarn. But I still don't think that's gonna be enough. It might be able to take out the 2 barbs, weakening the cleric and the ranger and the serpent witch to maybe hold off for one more turn. But we see all these global buffs now entering the game, and it's just gonna be, oh man, it's gonna be hard.
Cleric
I see a
comes
cleric.
out looking to make the connection. I don't like the blacks that's being played. He's got a, he's got. Does he have another unit to get rid of the Yenaroth? Okay, he does. Priest.
Oh,
Yep, Priest gonna do it. And big castle heal on top of that. Not only did the priest deliver the initiative, but the second cleric delivering the castle heal. And now Banana's out of that arbiter burn.
I think this is all she wrote. She's gonna have to play Rat King defensively, plus maybe even waste the blacksmith plus the lightning blade, and just hope he draws something. A freeze, cloak of ice. I'm not sure if he runs frozen pillar, another Yanara, just a delay, and hope Beasley makes a mistake by connecting all of his units. But I doubt Beasley's gonna fall into that trap.
No, he's got all the buffs safely back and away from the action. He can push everything else in a way that kind of prevents chain. Hopefully, he doesn't stack up too much. That's kind of what I'm hoping his bards provide him, a little extra upkeep, meaning he plays less, doesn't get too overzealous, doesn't play as many units
Hmm.
set up for a Yarm, and he can close out this game very nicely. I mean, Planet is flashing Arbiter, and that is a fair point. Arbiter can still be played next turn, which I think is the go-to.
He's gonna rush the ranger in. That's gonna be deadly.
Yep, gonna pretty much kind of negate that
And the
Arbiter.
wizard's gonna
Oh
end it.
yeah.
Oh,
No matter what, and yep, strongly taking out the Rat King to avoid any sort of Mystic Journey potential there. Call for aid just to kind of sprinkle the magic on top, and yeah, we'll see what Banana pulls. Shaman, not the card he needs. I mean, can get him maybe a little bit extra.
I don't know what he hopes to draw though with the shaman.
He can do a Yarm connection right now up at the top, but that wouldn't accomplish a whole lot. Pulls a Racking off the Shaman. That could be useful. Again, just getting the
Mm,
bodies out to clear the big bodies. Again,
I don't know.
this game is over. This game is pretty much over.
Yeah,
And you
you
know
need a
that.
lot. You need a lot to go with you, go against you, because you have to ultimately kill all three of these units, and
The
you can't
wizard.
even
Install the
and
wizard
the
in the back.
wizard.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna be able to do that.
We needed some kind of frozen pillar, perhaps, but yeah, that's gonna be the game ender here. So, but not Banana Beastly. It's gonna be taking game number 1 here in the first match, and overall, a pretty strong showing from Beastly. Thought he was gonna get Arbiter burned, but kind of avoids that very nicely. So I'm
Yeah,
very,
it
very
was looking
happy for
pretty
him.
solid for Banana early on. You know, he had early board control. Beasley didn't really have any of his global buffs, but as soon as Beasley started throwing down the blacksmiths, the fat bards, and Lord Terrius, let's not forget about that. I'm sure that was a game changer for Beasley. Not only getting one card, but getting an extra card in his arsenal per turn. That's always helpful. That is always helpful.
For sure, for sure. So I'm looking forward to seeing what both of these players have to think. So let's go ahead and take, I guess, ourselves to them. That's a horrible way of phrasing it. Let's go to the players. All right, and welcome back, folks. Coming after game number 1, Beastly picking up victory in that opening game. Beastly, talk to us. How you feeling after game number 1?
I was so scared that that was a war party deck because if he had pulled up war party, I would have been so screwed. The only thing that would have saved me maybe is Tarius giving me the draw into the units that I would need to take down all the big boys. But that's really what I was worried about there.
Right. We certainly saw Loremaster, mentioning him. I think that was a big turnaround for you. I mean, did you feel the same way? I'm assuming at that point then.
Yeah, Tarius is always just a massive turnaround for Druid Beast because sorry, Druid Beast, what am I saying? Druid Crusader, because like you burn out really fast on the draw, and you can't really keep on like just popping units into your opponent's castle and sacrificing them all because you'll just be left over. But Tarius really does help maintain those low cost units, just a steady stream.
Right, right. And again, I think that actually fits more in your play style, because from what I've seen of your matches, both here on the casting conflicts and in ranked, you're much more of an aggressive player. One that kind of
Yeah,
likes to kind of push the initiative, kind of get in the opponent's face. So I think Loremaster definitely might help suit your play style a bit better. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say there. But going on the other side of it, we've got Banana here, who took a loss. Banana, how are you feeling after that one? Talk to me. What were your plan using the Viking Crusader?
Well, that deck is basically just freeze them until you get like a giant chain going.
Right.
But I only drew one of the freeze cards. I drew Yenna, but that was like a bit too late. He had already put down like 4 global buffs or something.
Hmm.
So by then I was basically dead. There's nothing you can do. Druid Crusader, if you let it go to late game, there's not much you can do against it.
Right. We noticed actually at one point in the matchup, I don't know if it was when, Beastly had just started to get the Lore Master engine running, you had the option to pop an Arbiter Burn to give you the exact damage for lethal. Talk to us, how come you avoided that direction instead going for the Wind Mage Mystic Journey for more stall? Was there just any reason behind that? Did you feel like the Arbiter wasn't going to be enough to close out the game? What were you feeling on that?
Yeah, I just thought like he was gonna outdamage me with the I think he had a ranger on board and it was like 10-11 or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
he
just
did.
decided, nah, he's gonna like destroy the entire healing from my arbiter in one turn. What's the point? Try and stall and get a freeze.
Yeah, I mentioned the red that it was a big gamble. That was basically going to decide the game was the next two moves because what you had to do was waste your turn hitting castle with arbiters, getting him down to 4 HP, and then also sacrificing your wind mage by either hitting the cleric and the ranger, and then the following turn when Beastly plays, when the cleric either attacks the wind mage or the castle, that heal has to go on the unit that you hit with the wind mage, or it's going to be game over for you.
I could
So
have also
there's,
done a Rat King Mystic Journey Lightning Blade. That would
hmm
have done a bit more damage, but still it's a gamble.
Right.
right, right.
Right, certainly. So that's gonna be all from me. Twiggen, do you have anything for either player before we jump into game number two then?
I think we said all I wanted to say with Banana. Now with Beastly, we didn't see any companions. Now, I'm not saying you don't have any companions, but do you run companions in the deck? And we just didn't happen to see any of them come out to play.
I do run I do run a couple, but no, I didn't draw any.
You run the likes of like Centaur and Spiny. That's about it.
Yeah, the Centaur because he's got good stats for taking
Yeah.
stuff down.
Do you not run the Spiny as well? You just run
I,
Centaur?
I won't disclose that information.
Fair
Yeah, I
enough.
can see.
Fair
I'll
enough.
Yeah,
keep, I'll keep
Spany's a
that
love hate card. Spiny is
yeah,
definitely a love hate card.
Spidey is kind of like, you either add him or you don't add him. He's kind of useful both ways around, but if you don't run Bestial Rage, then Spidey isn't really an amazing card because you can't get that 3 stat instantly when you play him.
Right.
It's same off the Centaur, so.
Right. And how often do you need to use? And how often do you need to attack to kill something, to kill off a building or a unit? Usually, you need 3 or more.
All the,
So,
it's, if I see a rat hovel, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a Centaur
Yeah,
going right
like-
up to that rat hovel, just smacking it.
more often than not, you need at least 3 attack to be efficient.
Yeah,
Not
to
saying
do
always,
anything,
but
yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
time.
To do anything. Mostly, you need 3 or 4 for the mage. But yeah, basic range units you can normally get by.
Yeah, that's all I have for this first match. It was a good
Alright.
match. It was a good match. Like we
Yeah.
said, Red, it was going to be decided in the late game, and it was.
It certainly. So with that being said, folks, let's go ahead and jump into match number 2 right about now. All right, folks, and welcome back. Jumping into game number 2. A little dicey on the.
Little buggy.
A little buggy. Yep. Hold on.
But we'll deal with it. We'll deal with
We're
it.
getting in. We're getting in there. We're getting there.
Just
take-
breathe.
There
Just
we go.
breathe, game. Just breathe.
Well, I'm hearing some action go. I think.
I'm here. I'm hearing
Yeah,
something. I
I
think
think Ryder-
someone killed a Salahar rider.
Yep. All right. There it is.
All right.
We're
2
back.
Salahar riders, both traded.
So we actually, I guess, actually going back to the actual deck we're seeing here, Banana chose to build a Last Will deck before jumping into this matchup here as a counteraction to Beastly's Druid Crusaders. Tweaking, how are you feeling about that matchup?
It's gonna be a hit or miss. But right now it's looking more towards a hit because he has the likes of Dragonfire and Flamestorm to kill off these global buffs. But now,
Oh boy.
and this is where it comes into. This is where it becomes problematic.
You get a Witch Ball. He needs that Horseman to connect. He does get the connection, so he can
Wow.
take out this Knight of Flowers, which we are going to see him go for. Smart decision. I
Wow.
definitely think that's the better trade for him to make. Beastly wasted a lot of resources to make that Knight a little stronger. And I don't know if Beastly's going to have a counteraction with it. You're throwing out the respect. I don't know if he's got the extra cards in hand to rebuild himself. I think that was a good play. Oh, there's a companion.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Just
This
like
could
you
very
mentioned.
well. This could very well be game
Oh, Lord, and that's not what you want to
already.
see either.
He's gonna field back. He's gonna put Atari's file. Oh no! Play the Witch Bolt. Put Atari's file down. Play the Witch Bolt on the Centaur or the Fat Bard.
Nope, Fat
Either
Bard.
way.
Yeah.
Either way. Good play.
I probably would have gone for Centaur to
I would have.
draw
Yeah.
Beastly in the false sense of security here. I mean, maybe he's worried about an armory getting thrown down, and thereby Centaur
Negating
would
Dragon's
survive,
Fire.
or the Fat Bard would survive a Dragon's Fire. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's his game. It's his game. He can do what he wants. Kind of nervous for him. He's already this low at the early stages of the game. I don't know if he wants to risk Flamestorm to kind of get this Tarius draw. We know he's packing Arbiters in here, but finding them is a very different story.
That's the only. That's his only heal. He doesn't have a cleric. Doesn't have. I don't think he put priest in there
Wizard.
too.
You can't Dragon's Fire. Okay, goes for the Dragon's Fire, leaves the Wizard untouched. This could be game.
I mean, yeah, you're flashing the Flamestorm, but most
Uh,
likely Beastly's gonna have some type of buff.
Oh, I hear him shifting through the cards before he
Oh god.
attacks.
He's like, what do I want to end it with? Oh dear god, there's the
Spiny,
Spiny.
Bestial
Oh dear god.
Rage. Oh no.
And now he can't even play
no,
Flamestorm.
he's locked out of Flamestorm. Unless he decides to just go out on it, ends
You know,
off his own game.
fall on your sword, banana.
Oh, and Tarius Files, not the draw. Yeah, this
God.
has just been a horrible draw.
Oh,
my god.
And look at the tease. Look at the tease of Arbiter.
Oh,
Yeah,
is not his game.
I could understand why he chose Last Will,
Right.
but it takes a little bit to build up. And Beasley being as aggressive as he is, I personally probably would have picked a blue-red deck. Kind of have the best of both worlds. You have freezes for defense. You have
Or maybe go for
burns
no
for
interaction.
offense.
If you want to play the red-yellow style, no interaction. Also,
Or
deck.
no interaction.
Well,
no interaction.
You're not necessarily, devoted to the Last Will faction. You have a bit more room to play some of the other cheaper units, things like Imp, things like, Priest is in the other Last Will too. But, you get what I'm saying. There's much more room for elimination of Beastly's units here. The ones that we know are going to get buffed up in the next turns. The Knight of Flowers could have been taken out earlier on if we had another burn for that. We could have seen Drain Life come into play, help some of his stuff survive longer maybe. But I mean that's just me. I'm curious to see what both players have to say.
It's I knew Banana. I didn't want to say anything while he was making his deck, but I knew Banana was going to run into issues when I saw that he only had around 25 units in his hand. I just if he doesn't draw his units early and often, and Beastly just hits and just starts hitting his hand constantly, and no amount of direct damage is gonna save Banana.
Well, let's go ahead then and see what both of the players are feeling after a quick game number 2. Alright folks, and welcome back after game number 2. Bit of a shorter one on this time around, but I mean, it gets the job done for Beastly. Beastly picks up the series victory here. Beastly, I guess we'll start with you then. How are you feeling going into that match against the Warlock Crusader? Anything that you were kind of nervous about, expecting to see? Tell us some of your thoughts on the match.
A lot of burn. I was expecting a lot of burn. And I don't know if you noticed, but I could have closed out that game a lot faster if I just brought up the Bard and hit Castle with it, and then also hit with Centaur. But I accidentally played the Centaur first, and then I couldn't reach both of them to Castle, so I missed out on the 2 damage there, which cost me an extra turn basically for my KO potential. But oh well.
I don't really think that mattered too much. I mean, we saw the big, I think really what kind of swung the game more in your favor, that big Knight of Flowers in the earlier stages,
Oh yeah,
creating
that
that
beefy.
nasty 7-8 monster that if Horseman didn't hit, that probably would have been close to game right there. So, very
Yeah, if
scary on
Horseman
that
had a
side.
castle there, I would have lost for sure.
Mm-hmm. Because I think he drew a Tarius file
Yeah, and I had to block with
next
that
turn.
later.
Yeah.
And I guess going to the other side of it, Banana, you were not having the best of times with your draw here, but take us through the thought process of going Last Will against Beastly here.
Uh, so his deck runs like a lot of global buffs, so I thought, why not just burn them all, you know?
Right.
The only thing I had to worry about was like Ranger from Call to Aid. That's basically it. Everything else is like under 5 health-ish, except for Flower Knight, I guess.
Yeah.
One against
To be
Blessing and
fair,
Tregs.
I don't think me and Red were expecting that. I mean, we saw the that be played on a cleric last game, but I didn't expect Beasley was going to use it that early.
Let alone hit it again and kind of throw it
Right,
out in that kind of way.
right. That kind of
Certainly
took us
fits his
both by
playstyle,
surprise.
though, as being, aggressive. It's kind of what we're going to throw that to. But, I mean, going back to it, I mean, your draws definitely weren't the strongest here. And we mentioned earlier when you were kind of making the deck here that you went on the lower spectrum when you were filling in the unit count. Just talk to us about kind of that decision to go maybe more spell heavy than, with the units.
Well, Last Will has so much draw with Tarius files that it doesn't really matter once you get past like turn 6, 7-ish, and like you're well off. But I kind of just died early on.
You hit too many
You just
I
Tarius
bricked.
mean,
files.
Yeah, you bricked.
yeah,
You kind of bricked. I mean, you had the right combinations of cards, but not at the right time, if that makes sense.
yeah, if I had that hand like late game, it'd be a different story, but
Hmm.
nah.
I saw that you wanted to get the Dark Bender out, but I mean, I'm sure you knew that as soon as Dark Bender was gonna make it, there was no chance of him surviving.
Hmm.
Right.
It's just unfortunate. It's just
So,
unfortunate events.
certainly, certainly. But with that being said, that was going to be all for me. Tweak, anything before I close out the video? Anything that you got to throw out there to either player?
Yeah, yeah. Players in the ladder. If you match up against Beastly, defend at all costs because that boy is coming hot. That boy is coming hot.
I'm gonna start playing War Party. That's it.
Start just defend, 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 and when it hits sudden death, go on your attack.
Jeez. Well,
That's all I gotta say.
damn, calling out Beastly to the rest of the ladder. Certainly a way to end off this video. So, with that being said, guys, go ahead and throw out my future self to close out this video. Alright, folks, with that being said, I hope you did enjoy this edition of Casting Conflicts. Let us know what you thought of the matches, leaving your thoughts down in the comment section below. And, of course, while you're down there, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, share with friends, and, of course, subscribe if you are new or haven't done so already. It is the best way that you can support us here on the channel. And, yeah, that's going to do it for me for now. So, until next time, guys, stay gaming.